So what I found out is you don't need to count calories. You can eat Little Debbie snacks at least 3 times a week and still look like a shredded monster out there. How to get shredded without having to count calories. This is the solution everybody wants. Everybody wants that magic pill that helps them lose weight and get some that shredded physique that you see all the influencers and bodybuilders have online. But how do you do it is the big question. It's called carb cycling. So the way it works for weight loss is it's kind of like if it fits your macros with a little twist to it. And it can be used for muscle gain also. But today we're going to talk in the concept of fat loss. It's a little easier to describe it this way. So the main goal of it is to pull mainly from your glycogen and your fat stores to turn you into a nutrient partitioning machine and preserve your muscle mass. So there's a couple ways you can do this, and we'll go over it later in the video. But before we get to that point, we need to go over what our 3 main nutrient sources are. We have fats, we have carbs, we have proteins. Your fats, there's 9 calories per gram of fat. They're mainly used to regulate your hormones. They're most easily stored as fat. With carbs, there's 4 calories per gram, and these are your main source of glycogen stores. They also help you retain water, and they're the easiest energy source your body pulls from. Then you have proteins.
Fucking protein! Where's the goddamn protein, Mom? Told you to get me some protein! Fuck!
They're also 4 calories per gram, much harder to break down, and this is mainly used to build muscle. But there's a limited amount your body can use, and it's kind of hard for your digestive system to break down protein, which is why we take a limited approach with it, unlike the 90s when you used to see all the bubble guts and all the crazy Palumbo, Santa Claus looking physiques out there with 6-packs on the top of them. So you might be asking, what's the direct source versus a trace source? Well, a direct source of fat is more your guacamole, your nuts, and some of your vegetable oils. I have a permitted foods list that includes all these on it, so you kind of know what you can and can't eat for fat sources. I don't want you using butter and like all this super fatty stuff, but by only counting it that way, you're not stressing out about that 1% of fat that's in the chicken breast that you kind of cut off, but you're not sure because each breast could have a little bit more fat in it. And that's not worth stressing over because at the end of the day, it's all going to even out. Even when you're talking about your ground beef that's 96% fat free, 4% fat, when you take it to the butcher, they just guesstimate anyway. They say, that looks 96% clean. So the 96 versus the 93, in reality, it's all eyeballed, so it might not even be that much different. And with those fats, you just try to keep them just enough for physiological function. You don't want to add a bunch of fat because it's more easily stored as fat. If you look at anything in the gas station or any American diet thing, there is so much more fat in it than you even realize. And I never even thought about it until I was just on vacation 2 times in 3 weeks, and I was trying to make somewhat healthy decisions. You know, we go to the gas station or whatever on like a 4 or 5 hour drive. I'm like, all right, let's try to find something that's lower in fat, even when it's higher in carbs and protein. All you can find is just fucking, even the potato chips, man. It has like 12 grams of fat in this little ass bag. I'm like, dude, it's impossible unless you're just cooking your own food, really, to eliminate the fat in the diet. Because like you could get the Sour Patch Kids or something like that that's low in fat, but you got this big bag and it's like 800 calories, and I'm smashing that in the car. Like there's no way I'm just gonna roll it up and like sit there for 3 hours looking at it and not touching it. Let's be honest. Carbs are what we manipulate the most in carb cycling because they're the least necessary source. Let's say. You can move them up and down and change your look quite a bit. You can bloat up or take 10 pounds of water weight off within a couple days just by manipulating your carbs. So by cycling your carbs, we can deplete you all the way down, where we want you to on a diet, but also let you refill once a week so you're not eating into your muscle mass, and it keeps you a little more full and keeps you a little more motivated in the gym because you have that one high day to look forward to keep yourself going. Dieting's never fun, but at the same time, I like dieting down a little better than a bulk because if you're doing 2 or 3 high days a week on a bulk, it is hard to get the carbs in. Like there's a lot of carbs, and I don't even weigh that much. I weigh like 180, 190 right now. I know guys that are 280 and they're eating twice as many carbs a day as I am, and I'm already stuffed. And like if I do a leg day on a high day, there's days I'm puking in my mouth by the end. Like let's be real. There's a lot of carbs. I've even kind of shifted to where I'm moving my high carb day to my chest and triceps and shoulders day because I'm trying to get my triceps up, and that way I'm kind of over full that day, still super full going into the leg day, and I'm not puking in my mouth while I'm doing it. TMI, I know, but it's a consideration some people might need to make. But the high days are the days where Little Debbie comes into the equation, and specifically Little Debbie cereal. Now, this shit is amazing. Not only does it taste just like a Nutty Buddy, but it also has less calories and fat somehow than the Reese's Puffs that I usually like to use. So you can eat Little Debbie at least once a week on a cut. If you're in a bulk, you can do it 3 times a week. Have at it. Fire away, baby. So during your high day, you can get 50% of your carbohydrate sources from sugary sources like this, Airheads, whatever you want. I don't really care because it is so hard to get all those calories down. And if you're eating that many carbs, you're just going to be a big bloated mess as it is. I mean, some guys, you can do it all rice and sweet potato if you want, but you're just going to be miserable by the end. Typically in a bulk, I'd say that's more the case. On a cut, you might enjoy that extra satiety from sweet potatoes and rice. I personally, like when I'm cutting, I like using the sweet potatoes a little more because it fills me up. They bloat me a little more, but I'm so depleted anyway, it doesn't affect me as much. On a bulk, it's just way too much. I pretty much cut them out, don't use them at all. I just go straight up rice. It's just easier to digest. And at the end of your high day, you do get your one cheat meal. Now, the cheat, I prefer you to still keep the fats lower. But if you want, you can go get a burger and, instead of getting the fries, maybe get 2 burgers, pound away, have at it, have a good time with it. Obviously, the cleaner you keep it, the better, especially on contest prep. You might only want to get some kebabs or something like that that's a leaner cut of like chicken. Even, I found out, believe it or not, Burger King burgers have less fat than even Chick-fil-A sandwiches. I think they use too much butter on the buns and stuff. So, I was keeping to that, and like the Wendy's chicken nuggets are a little more lean too, I think, than Chick-fil-A's even. Unless you get the grilled nuggets, which are like $10 for a little thing. So, if money's no object to you, go ahead and get those. But just something I found out through looking at all the different fast food restaurants and everything. Burger King's burgers are actually fairly lean if you get just the single patty. If you start getting a Whopper with all the sauce and shit on it, then yeah, obviously it goes up. So typically changes being made in the program are bi-weekly. I will check in every week with you, see how you're looking, see what your weight's trending at, seeing how everything's feeling and how we're going with it. But I typically like to make changes every 2 weeks just to get enough data to see where we're going, since your total daily expenditures and your NEAT level can all change week to week or based on your jobs. I have one guy right now who does like landscaping, and he is so active that I'm feeding him as much as a 240-pound guy just to keep up with the calorie demands. We were stuck at basically maintaining weight. He was recombing a little bit for probably 4 to 6 weeks before he really dialed it in. I just kept shoveling more and more carbs at him. That weight wasn't budging. I was like, dude, we're going to start feeding you like a 240-pound man, and that's where we're at right now. And he's finally starting to pick up some weight. So you can see things really need to be individualized, and that's where the coaching comes in. I do offer a tailored plan I make based on your basic stats, your activity level, all that I can give you cheaper. Or if you want to do the full coaching plan, we can really dial it in, work together for months at a time, get you into contest shape, or just, general looking good for the girl shape, whatever you want to do. But if you have any questions, drop them in the comments below or send me a message on Instagram. I'll link that in the little display card at the end. And I will answer all questions, no matter how dumb. Even if they are a question from Voldemort. If you know who I'm talking about, you know who I'm talking about.